My favorite piece in Rick Mooney's Position Pieces book is Busy Bees on page 34. I think it's the most like real, serious music, has the potential to be very virtuosic, but I also think it's the hardest and needs to be really kind of carefully pulled apart to be able to do it justice. So what I want to do for you is first just play kind of the, let's say, Busy Bee advanced version, kind of really fast and just going all out. And then I'll talk a little bit about how to practice it, and then I'll play it through one more time at a moderate, slow practice tempo. So this is angry, super aggressive Busy Bees. Okay, here it goes. So no wonder I like that one, huh? It's really cool. But now, to practice it, I think what really works best is to separate the hands. So you can see the bow was doing lots of string crossing stuff, right? And so I can practice that just on open strings. What I have here at the beginning is simply going back and forth, and then on these two strings instead. And basically what my arm's doing here, it's going back and forth, and my hand is doing this little bit of a figure eight kind of motion. So I wouldn't want to do this with my whole arm, because that would get really klutzy really fast. I want to kind of keep these string crossings to littler muscles if possible, and then my arm's just going back and forth. So see how I'm trying to keep that pretty small? And as I speed it up, I might want to keep it even smaller and try to see how close to both strings I can stay. Because really, it's not all that far from one string to another. So I'm going to stay super close. And that will make it so I can go faster. So just practicing that bow stroke on open strings is sort of stage one. Stage two, I'd practice the bowing that starts in measure 9. And that is this. You're starting up bow. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And again, I can get that one first at a slow tempo and then speed it up. And I'm still kind of trying to do a lot of it in my hand and fingers, not so much whole arm movement, because that'll make me be able to go faster in the end. So once I get really good at that bow stuff all by itself on open strings, I'm going to practice the left hand all by itself. I'm just going to eliminate the open Gs, because at the beginning here, every other note is an open G, which I don't really need to practice. So instead, I'll just practice the first, third, fifth, seventh notes, etc., which would sound like this. Comfortably, maybe I'll start it at a slower tempo, speed that up by itself. Then I can put the hands together. Right, so that would be the first 8 measures, how to practice that stuff. Now, measure 9, the left hand fingering thing is a little bit more difficult, because what we've got is essentially double stops. I have chords, and what I want to do is hold down the top 2 notes at the same time. So rather than playing and lifting my fingers up for each note, I'm going to just keep them there. Okay, see how they're staying and put, and they're moving in groups of 2 notes actually? So I would practice this, just those 2 notes by themselves. And intonation on this is what's tricky. could practice it this way. Bottom note, top note together. Bottom note, top note together. Or the opposite, top note, bottom note together. Top note, bottom note together. Okay, so that would be another way to practice it. I could also just isolate the shifts, because sometimes it's getting from one to another that's hard. So just back and forth, or even back and forth between these first two chords. Because it takes some practice to be able to move two fingers at the same time, rather than just moving one finger like we're used to. So once I get good at that, in the double stops, and I'm really picky about my intonation, and my intonation's sounding great, then I can put the two hands together. Again, starting up bow. Okay? So what I'm going to do is go back to the beginning, play the whole thing through at a pretty lazy B tempo, more than a busy B. So let's see. Dee da, ready, play. Then put them together slowly and little by little speed it up, and I think you'll end up with something very cool and very fun. And just to let you know, the next piece in the book, In a Hurry, which is on page 35, that one pretty much has the same exact idea in terms of practicing these double stops. You can practice the bows separately. So you can apply these same ideas to that piece as well.